you are going to have to put yourself out there, right? I always say this, it's like dating. Nobody's going to helicopter parachute down straight to your front door and knock at your door. Like, you are going to have to go to them. You're going to have to put yourself in places where you get to meet people, network, sell yourself, have them remember you, have them remember what you can do for them, right? And when they do call you, you got to be there.
Welcome aboard. Please take your seat and fasten your seatbelt. The Modern Travel Agent podcast starts now.
Thank you for joining us on the Modern Travel Agent podcast. On today's episode, we interview Mary Jo Salas, who is the Central Southwest Business Development Manager for AMResorts. Mary Jo's career in the travel industry started 11 years ago when she answered an ad in the newspaper for a bilingual marketing associate. Since then, her passion for travel has led her to representing one of the largest all-inclusive resort brands in the world. Mary Jo shares what she believes the most successful travel agencies are doing differently, and she gives her advice on how travel agencies can set their agents up for success.
This episode is brought to you by AMResorts, which is a collection of luxury resorts, each with its own unique personality. Raising all-inclusive to a new level of luxury, their resorts offer gourmet dining, unlimited premium drinks, elegant accommodations, and world-class spas. Visit amragents.com to learn more about their properties, as well as their amazing agent rewards program. So without further ado, this is our interview with Mary Jo Salas, the Central Southwest BDM for AMResorts.
Mary Jo, thank you so much for joining us on the Modern Travel Agent podcast.
Thank you, Chris and Tim, for having me. I'm going to start this off by saying this is my very first podcast ever, so you have all been pre-warned.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, we're about to find out.
For those who don't know who you are, can you share a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So my name's Mary Jo Salas. I have been in the travel industry since 2010. My current position is as business development manager for AMResorts. But prior to that, I was a travel agent. I specialized in destination weddings. So those are still two big passions of mine. I try to use that as a BDM. And just on the personal side, I got lots of interest in hobbies, but travel obviously is one of them. I love lounging on the beach. I recently picked up drumming again. I wanted to learn how to drum, so I started that. And then I love to karaoke. So I'm a very multidimensional human being, but yes, travel is numero uno.
That is awesome. Well, I guess.
And I'm a big Chicago Bears fan.
Oh,
Die hard. Die hard.
Podcast over. Podcast over.
I don't know about that one.
All right. Well, I guess let's start, from your passion, and if you would share with our listeners, how did you get involved in travel?
Very good question. Honestly, it was not planned. It was by coincidence. I had previously not worked in the industry when I applied for a travel agency. And back then you would look up in your local newspaper, job openings. And the main thing, it said bilingual, which I'm fully bilingual. I was born in Chicago, obviously being a Bears fan, but my parents are from Mexico and that was my first language. So I just honed in on the bilingual part. And it happened to be, I was applying for a travel agency for admin marketing reasons. And then from there, I thought that's what I was going to do. And there was a major fire in the leisure department. And the agency owner needed all hands on deck. And I was surprised by a big 3-inch binder that was just plopped down on my desk, and it was a destination wedding unbeknownst to me. So that is my intro to travel.
So she threw a huge binder on the desk, basically said, here you go, take off and run with it. So what did you do from there? Where did that go?
So this was a destination wedding group. It had been booked. We were middle of process, and I needed to help because everybody at the agency had to help the leisure department because their supervisor had left after a number of years. So I learned that there are payments. I didn't know where in the payment schedule we were here. And that was a cool thing because I didn't know as a consumer, I didn't know there was like payment plans, right? Which later on became like a big hook for me, like at bridal shows, right? Like you don't have to pay everything out once. But back then I had no idea like there was a payment schedule. And then I definitely did not know about assigned seating. So the bride and groom did not have assigned seats. I later uncovered, and the groom was definitely not happy. He called the front desk and said that he would be waiting for me in the parking lot that day. So I learned a lot. I learned what not to do. I learned what could go very, very wrong quickly with a group, and in this case, a destination wedding group. So I learned a lot of valuable lessons.
It's all a learning process, right?
Trial by fire.
Yep.
Yes, and in my scenario, I was like, I'm never a person to say this isn't my job, but it literally was not my job. I didn't know what any of this was, but I would not be here honestly with you all today and with everybody that I've gotten to know over the past 11 years if it wasn't for that.
I've heard you've been called the romance queen. I've heard that before through people at AMResorts. We do destination weddings, so we definitely connected on that.
It's truly something. Romance travel, I had no idea it was a thing, a segment, a niche, but I just love it. I love every part of it. So thank you to my former agency owner, my former boss that saw that in me, that this was I was very blessed. Not a lot of times people can identify something about you and allow you the foundation, right, to like thrive. And I give it all to her, like, because she definitely identified something in me that I didn't see in myself. So here I am, the romance queen.
Being that you kind of fell your way into the industry, everybody has a different path into the travel industry. What advice would you have for a new agent, let's say, who's interested in becoming a travel agent or stepping into the industry?
Right. So, that's a big plus. If you already know this is something that you want to do, listen to my story. Don't get discouraged, right? It happens. It can happen to anybody. It doesn't matter how long you've been in this industry. It is a very humbling industry. You could be doing this for 20 years and they change the rules on you. So whether you're a veteran, whether you're new, the playing field's pretty leveled at times. And we just saw with, everything that happened. So don't get discouraged. The good thing, unlike me, is that this is something you want to do, and you will have trials, and they're learning lessons. Take them as opportunities to hone your craft, to become a better travel advisor for your clients, and embrace the challenges. I think honestly, it only makes you better. It gives you something to look out for in advance. Be proactive for your clients on their behalf. So don't get discouraged.
I was super excited to have you on the podcast, not only because you're a dear friend, but also because you have seen both sides. You have been a travel agent and now you're a BDM. How are they similar?
It's still training, training people. When I was an agent, I would train clients on, seasonality and destinations and the process, right? What are you looking at? What's the end game? Once you arrive somewhere, it's still training. Now with my accounts, I'm training, but just on one product, which happens to be, it was my favorite product when I was an agent. So I think the training aspect, the consulting aspect, advising aspect, very, very similar.
Mhm.
And in that process, the consulting, working with people, I mean, how do you make that connection with clients? How do you reach them? Whether it's, as a BDM with travel agents or as a travel agent with somebody who's looking to take a trip?
I think the approach is still the same, right? I may be doing it in different locations. For example, as a BDM, it'll be a trade show, right? Or setting up a meeting, versus as an agent, it may be a show, or it may be networking. But you are going to have to put yourself out there, right? I always say this. It's like dating. Nobody's going to helicopter parachute down straight to your front door and knock at your door. Like, you are going to have to go to them. You're going to have to put yourself in places where you get to meet people, network, sell yourself, have them remember you, have them remember what you can do for them, right? And when they do call you, you got to be there. Like, you can't be constantly promoting yourself, and then when somebody's ready to use you as an agent, they can't get a hold of you. So you spend all that energy, all that resource and time putting your name out there. Do it to a level that you're going to be able to respond, right? If you put out 1,000 business cards, for example, and you could only answer your phone 4 hours a day, then you may want to rethink of, your capacities.
Yeah, that's great advice. That is great advice. You get to go in and visit different agencies, just with what you do, in seeing those different types of agencies. How can they set their agents up for success?
Absolutely. The thing that I find with my accounts is, obviously everybody finds their specialty, right? But what the commonality, in agencies that I see successful, is they invest in their team, right? Whether that's trainings to upsell, destination trainings, they constantly invest in their teams to set them up for success. And I think the majority of time it's going to have a return for the agency. I'm a firm believer in that.
Every agent who's been in the industry understands how valuable BDMs are for a million different reasons. What would you tell agents that they can do to help maximize their relationship with BDMs and the way that they can collaborate together?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. I feel like it doesn't get asked enough. But if you have a business development manager, development is a big part of that word, right? And I think that's something that is not used often. Again, speaking for myself, I love accounts that share with me what is their vision, what is their goal, their end game. And so I can, plug myself into their goals, right? It really is a partnership. So, we got to meet each other halfway. And I want to be a partner to you. Tell me what your goals, so we could be aligned. If our goals are not aligned because we didn't talk about it or discuss it, or the agent or the agency didn't share it, nobody could read our minds. So share what your goal is. How can we partner together? Most of the time it's going to be a good fit, right? There are going to be times, by discussing and being transparent, maybe that supplier is not a good fit for your business model, right? But have that conversation. If a BDM reaches out to you for a meeting, an appointment, have that be part of your meeting. Or if you don't know who they are, definitely introduce yourself, and don't just send an email like an introduction. Like, set up a call, right? That's what I'm here for. And I think that question doesn't get asked enough. So have that conversation, be on the same page, and so your goals can align to each other, to your partners.
That's great advice. I mean, in any relationship, connection, communication, that's like so important. There are a lot of agency owners out there that, after COVID, even before COVID, they were looking to grow their business. What advice would you give agency owners who are wanting to grow their business right now?
We all want growth, right? So the good thing is that we're all in the same boat. We want to grow. And again, just communicating your goals. What does that growth look like to you? Is it, revenue? Is it growing your team? Is it growing a specific segment, right? Maybe you're really strong in something, but this pandemic was like, I need to diversify my portfolio, right? Is it you're looking to grow, in all-inclusive sales or, honeymoons? What it is that you're looking to grow, and map it out quarterly. I think when you break things out in smaller components, it becomes more manageable, especially in now times, right? You can't look too far out, but do it something manageable. Quarterly goals, I think right now in the near future are great. That would be one of my best advice right now.
That's such a great point. As you said, not just because it's easier to manage that way, but because from what we've seen over the past year, you can't predict the next, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Like there's no telling. There's a new CDC thing coming out, all the time. There's new restrictions. So I like that. I think that's great advice to sort of shorten the time horizon and focus on the immediate future and be super focused. We love AMResorts, the properties, working with you, everything. What is your favorite part about working at AMResorts?
Honestly, everything. I mentioned earlier, when I was an agent, once I discovered the brand, I really fell in love with it. And back then there wasn't as many resorts. There wasn't some of the brands that we have now. So I feel very proud to work at AMResorts. I feel very proud of obviously the facilities, the amenities, our all-inclusive program, but my colleagues that I work with at the resort properties, they are very passionate. My coworkers, my leaders, I love every aspect of it. As a former agent, they really keep our travel agent partners top of mind. And it makes my job a lot easier, because that's my heart. I'm still a travel agent in my heart. And our travel agent partners are definitely top of mind in the organization, at the hotel level, obviously with me. I still get to work closely with travel agents, and yeah, just amazing resorts and destinations. So I love what I do, and I hope you guys see it, because I'm truly, truly happy where I'm at.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got to spend a little time with the leadership team in Akumal, along with you, Mary Jo, back in December. And what an amazing group of people. It was a great experience.
Thank you.
So now a serious question, okay? Travel agents are wondering, why should they send their clients to AMResorts?
Why not? So we have such a, as I mentioned, we've grown so much, and that's in large part to our travel agent partners, right? We have been able to grow. And even in these challenging times, we have continued to add product to our portfolio, coming into new destinations, new resorts with new amenities. We have a brand for every travel style and every travel budget. So when it comes to the all-inclusive space, between our brands, our price points, and our destinations, our map, if you look at our map, it's very, very diverse portfolio of destinations. In the all-inclusive space, I think we're a great partner for agents. You don't want to put your eggs all over the place. If you want to, bring it into a few select partners, I think we are an incredible all-inclusive option. We got you covered.
And for agents that maybe aren't as familiar with AMResorts, where can they start? What steps or process can they take to better sell AMResorts?
Absolutely. So we have an agent site. It's AMRagents.com. It is the hub and encyclopedia of everything AM Resorts. I realize that we're a large portfolio. So I would encourage them to take our master agent course. Again, breaking down to something smaller. It has modules for every brand. So you'll get to learn about each brand. You'll get to know about where we're located, our resorts. So it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, that course. But I think once you take that, it really gives you a better picture of all the possibilities that we have for our travel agent partners. So that would be my starting point. Once you take that course, definitely reach out to your AM Resorts BDM. And hopefully if it's me, we'll get to know each other more.
Something great about the website, AMR Agents. It's just a wealth of information. I love the transparency that you guys give agents. There's the list of the GM's email, the spa email, like everybody, you have access to that. Whereas some brands, don't necessarily want to put that out there. You guys are more than willing to connect the agents with the resorts so that they can, do their best to their ability in working with their clients. So we really love that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I think also, the process of branding, AM Resorts does such a great job of sort of narrowing which resorts are for what type of customer or client. And as an agent, that's exactly what you want, because the resorts that try to do everything and be everything to everybody aren't going to have the same type of impact that the ones that really know who their customers are and specialize specifically for them. So I think that's, not only for the agents to be able to build the relationship with the BDM and get to know that, but also to go online to learn about all the brands and specifically, who they're for. That really helps in that process. Because as you said, the portfolio is huge, right? So there's so many different resorts, being able to narrow it down to the perfect one. I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
What is this past year's been wild and unpredictable. What would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned from 2020?
I honestly, I have to say, it is, I could only focus on what is in my control. And there are many things that happened last year that were way above me, that none of us had control, and trying to hold on to those reins. Like if you try to hold on to a reins, you're just going to cut yourself, it's going to go where it's going to go. So just focusing on what I can control, what is in my capabilities, and just, have trust and faith that it will work out okay. Right. So, it was very, very humbling. There were things that happened that were way larger than any one individual. So, and so usually I feel like in my lifetime, when I faced challenges, it was somewhat like just me, right? Me having challenges and everybody else was like going about. But this, at least everybody could relate to you. The whole world could relate to you. So you weren't alone in it. You may have had different instances, but the whole world was dealing with a pandemic and the challenges that brought. So it probably united me to my circle, to everybody could relate. So there were some big takeaways, some positive takeaways, but that was the lesson that I learned.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. I know that you were talking about earlier about setting quarterly goals. So this is a little difficult because I'm going to ask a question about 5 years. So not quarterly. How do you see the future of the travel industry in the next 5 years?
I think it'll be a lot of demand for travel. I am a very strong believer in that when you couldn't go, those days of lockdowns and quarantines, when you couldn't go anywhere, you learn to appreciate all of the things you were able to do. And also if you never got to go anywhere, it kind of put into perspective, like, I really need to get out there, it put a lot of things in perspective. I strongly feel, and I have hope that the travel is going to be a big boom after this. And all of my agent partners are going to be very, very busy. So it's up to you all to use this time right now to educate yourself. Thank you for this series. I think this is great. Listen to all of these resources that are coming out right now during this time. It'll definitely help you jump into that boom, that travel. I feel it's going to occur.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, be prepared for it, right? Because it's going to happen. So, how important are travel agents to sort of the distribution of travel products?
It's travel agent partners are great. I highly encourage everybody to work with one. These challenging times, I mean, there's so much to keep up with, right? So much to keep up with. It's like having somebody there, if you need them during your travels, during your whole booking experience. And then as far as for us, as as partners, as suppliers, you all, travel agent partners, you all break it down so easily for clients, right? Like, why would you want to book a club level room with AMResorts, right? Like, you guys know it's like a no-brainer, right? And to be able to have somebody break it down for you of like, this is your vacation, where Chris is sitting, you get to have this exclusive preferred club pool, a lot of sites that just, you need that person to guide you and just tell you how to enhance your vacation, your trip, your experience. And it makes it a smoother process for us to have partners like you all, to be able to talk about and suggest and sell these wonderful suites like where Tim's located, and why not have that balcony that you have right there and have like mimosas, for sunrises or sunsets, all of those intangibles that a static page is not going to give you. So you can really break down the product and then fit the client, very easily. Like, if they had something in mind, your suggestions, your experience on why maybe they should consider something else.
Mm-hmm. What is your favorite thing about travel?
Just one?
Multiple. Sorry. What are your favorite things about travel?
When we couldn't go anywhere, I got to thinking a lot about what I liked about travel. Just discovering new places that this wonderful earth has to offer. I have been very fortunate that I have discovered quite a few places with you all.
Yes.
And I had those memories to think about, right? When, we couldn't go anywhere, and I was like, one time I four-wheeled on a suspended bridge on the Pacific side of Mexico.
Yeah.
And even, even if my power were to go out, I have those memories here that I can pull from and have me think of better days. So just discovering, places that the earth has, meeting people. I have friends now throughout the world, just connecting with somebody that's not in my local community, learning about why things are the way they are in different parts of the world, learning how we are very similar as human beings, right? Mm-hmm. And learning why some of these differences are. So learning, discovering, and friendships.
I love it. Those are perfect.
That is. And it's so true, right? It's this past year, sort of people being locked away. You had a lot of time with, you and your thoughts, and you sort of get some perspective of like, some of the best memories that we have traveling are the moments that we share with other people. and these opportunities to get to know them. And as you said, that bridge, by the way, was horrifying. That thing was so high up. I'm not a fan of Hyatts. Like I can still, as you said, like my mind's eye, I can still see it from up there, and my hands were like trembling. It was
But you
intense.
did it.
Yeah.
We did do it.
There's a lot of good memories.
So, what is your process for packing a trip? Everybody has a different way to prepare and get ready for it. What's your process? Uh-oh.
I know I am a travel professional, and I promise you that I take my job very seriously.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
And I'm going to be honest, I don't have a process for packing. It pretty much consists of just grabbing random things that I think I'm going to need and then trying to make them fit into a suitcase or two. And I overpack, and I end up not using half of the things. And then I probably don't bring the things that I need. And I wish I had a process. I'm sure it would help me tremendously, but I'm going to be honest. Like I haven't been able to pin it down. And I see all of these videos where you roll things and it's just like so neat. And there's like little cubbies or containers where you can just be very organized. And it's been a goal of mine. I've been doing this for 11 years and I can't get it down. And I finally just embrace the real me, that is me. I am not going to be an organized packer, and it is a-okay. And you guys know my secret.
But do you pack like the morning of your flight, or do you do it the night before?
It could be anywhere from 12 to 3 hours before my flight.
Gosh, you're stressing me out.
A kindred spirit. I love it.
My wife does that. I'm like, we're gonna miss the flight. You gotta pack the night before, pour yourself a beverage, get it all organized, and then you're good to go. You're good to go. You can sleep nicely, No?
It's just the frequency that, for my position, the frequency of travel, sometimes it's just not possible.
Yeah, that's true.
And I have done where I have not really unpacked. I just throw everything to wash, and then I'm going to repack that same thing because there was just not a lot of time. Yeah. And I fought myself on that for a while. And you know what? If it makes me be a better BDM for my travel agent partners, that I use more of my time and resources for you all than packing, I'm okay.
Good. That was a good plug right there. I like that. That was perfect. Mary Jo, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. It's been a pleasure. You are awesome, and we love working with you so much. For agents who want to connect with you, what's your handle on Facebook, Instagram?
I have Facebook is where I'm really active. So it's Mary Jo Salas. You could find me there on Facebook. That's probably where I post the most. I started last year with an Instagram. It's Travel with Mary Jo. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get up to modern status. So we'll see. Wish me luck.
So what's your TikTok?
That is for a different generation that I am not in, and
I understand.
I wouldn't even know what kudos to the young people that are making TikTok thrive. Like, I think it's great. I think it's really, really neat. I'm not that cool. I don't have dances or
very cool.
I don't know.
All right. Thank you, MJ.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it for having me on here, and feel very honored for the invite. So I miss y'all. Hi, everybody. Stay and travel. I encourage you, don't get discouraged, and use these resources that the team at Modern is providing for all of you all. Thank you so much for doing this for our travel agent community. Like, this is great. This is really, really awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.